Good evening and a very warm welcome back to SUTV Live. Tonight the Blades are on the road to the Hawthorns to face West Bromwich Albion, a game that just a few short months ago was a Premier League fixture. Both teams are hoping new managers can lead them back to the top flight at the first time of asking. The Baggies looking to build on their first win of the campaign against Luton, and having got a hard-earned point at Swansea, United now want to leave the West Midlands with all three. All of the build-up for the next 55 minutes is right here, exclusively live on SUTV Live. Hello and welcome once again to our studio here at Bramall Lane. Now, I have to say, due to broadcasting regulations, we can't bring you live match coverage of tonight's game. What we can do is bring you the very best possible build-up, including a number of exclusives that are only available to viewers of SUTV Live. For all the details around accessing match feeds via the platform, just check out sufc.co.uk. Here's what's coming up then on today's show. I'll be joined live in the studio by two former Blades as we count down to kick-off here on SUTV Live. We'll have all of the important team news, which is on the way shortly. We'll have the highlights from United's hard-fought draw at Swansea at the weekend. Slavisa Jokanovic will be giving us his reaction to that and looking ahead to tonight's game at the Hawthorns. And we'll have an exclusive interview with new signing Ben Davies. Well, I'm delighted to say that joining me in the studio is one of the first names on our team sheet, former Blades defender Kevin Gage, who'll be with us, of course, throughout the campaign. And another guest who is sat with me tonight, a hard-as-nails defender who captained the Blades to the Premier League and served as caretaker manager on not one occasion, but two occasions. Making his debut here with us tonight is Chris Morgan. Hello, chaps.
Good evening.
Good to see you. Let's get straight into it. The team news is out. There are three changes. Brewster, Burke, Ramsdale are the ones to make way. Verrips, Fleck and Osborne, the three to come in. We have to start, don't we, with a goalkeeper. We understand that the club is considering a bid from an unnamed club as it's been described, but he's not involved tonight. Kevin, first of all, what do you make of Aaron Ramsdale being left out?
Well, it's been speculation, hasn't there, for a couple of weeks now, 2 or 3 weeks. So I think reading between the lines, it looks like he could be going. I can appreciate what the club have tried to do today, and if Aaron Ramsdale is that close to maybe leaving, I think it may be the best for all concerned that he doesn't play tonight. So I do understand the decision. Chris, if the kid wants to go, that's how it's going to play out, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I think, like Kevin said, the speculation's been going on, through the summer, So I don't think anybody would be surprised to see and hear that tonight. And it's Arsenal Football Club. It's an opportunity. It's a big opportunity, and unfortunately for Sheffield United, it's that's where it's led to, but I think the manager's made a decision tonight. He's put Verrips in. It's his chance, first league start, and we all hope he goes down there and does well.
It is a big night, isn't it, for Michael Verrips? He's had a couple of appearances in the Cups, but league debut tonight, and he comes into a game of this size against this kind of opposition.
It's an absolutely huge night for him. Yeah, let's not make no bones about it. He's had a couple of appearances in the league, came off injured, didn't he, against Fylde, I think it was. But yeah, huge opportunity for him. I mean, he looks the part, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's certainly a big lad. He's got long arms, long legs, he's a tall guy. So he's got all the physical attributes. Yeah, great opportunity for him. And listen, we've had a good history of keepers down here at Sheffield United. Going back from my era, Tracy and Kelly, and then Paddy, through Chris's and in between as well. So obviously a fantastic opportunity for him, and let's hope he grasps it with both of those big hands he's got.
Chris, what's it like as a defender when a new goalkeeper comes in? Because obviously with Aaron there, the understanding, the relationship was there. He's only had a couple of games. How easy is it to build that level of understanding?
Well, the lads will have trained with him. They'll train with Michael. They'll know all about him. They'll know his strengths, and they'll be comfortable. It's different. He's coming in. So yeah, of course the relationship certainly between the centre backs and the goalkeeper is going to be a big one, particularly tonight. With the way that West Brom play and the strengths that they have. So it is, it's going to be a big test.
As I mentioned, 3 changes. We've been trying to figure out what formation he's going to go with, because he has tinkered. He's still trying to find the right kind of system that complements the group of players that he's got. Kevin, when you look at it, what screams out at you? What formation is he going with tonight, do you think?
Well, myself and Chris have got about 4 teams written down here. Different. But for me, it absolutely screams that we play with 3 centre-backs, and we go back to what got us all the success, albeit not last season, of course, but we go back to what the players are comfortable with. So it'll be the 3 centre-backs. Well, Robinson will slide in there as the 3rd centre-back, and Baldock and Osborne the wing-backs. Yes, of course, we can go with the back 4 that the manager prefers, but I generally don't think the personnel on that team sheet suits a back 4 and then a midfield 3 and then a front 3. I don't see how that's going to work. So I think we're both kind of agreed, aren't we, that a back 3 with wing-backs is the way to go this evening.
Yeah, like Kevin says, that for us, it screams out at that. I think Slavica has played a 4-2-3-1. You could get that into a 4-2-3-1, but then the midfield looks very, very narrow. He might have identified some weaknesses within the West Brom setup, and that's what he might be trying to target.
We'll talk more about the team use later on when we go through it fully again, but just a quick one on Rhian Brewster, because he got his first goal against Carlisle. He was the one player at Swansea who was prepared to get on the ball and show some bravery. Do you feel a little bit for him that he's been left out of that starting lineup tonight, Kevin? Yeah,
I do actually. I'm surprised he's not got a starting berth today. And as you rightly said, I thought he showed some excellent touches against Swansea. He looked very, very dangerous. Slightly new role for him, because he's used to playing as a central striker or one of a 2 anyway. And he's been shoved out wide a bit, not as a left winger as such, but as like a left-sided striker of a 3. And he actually did very, very well. He got down the left-hand side a few times and put a couple of very dangerous balls across. He's always got a goal threat. We haven't actually seen the fruition of that. He's only got his 1 goal, of course. But slightly unfortunate to be left out tonight. But I don't think it's a long-term thing. I think there's good things to come from Ryan. Now he's got that first goal and that monkey off his back.
They've got a point on the board at Swansea. How important is it they back that up at West Brom tonight? I mean, it's a tough game. They've scored 5 goals, but they've conceded 4 goals. So that should give them a bit of belief that they can go there and get a positive result, yes?
Yeah, and I think when you look at the goals that West Brom have conceded, they've been defensive mistakes. Certainly the 2 at the weekend against Luton. I think Rhian looking at being left out tonight. He's certainly the one that has pace. He's certainly the one, as an ex-defender, he'd worry you. He wants to go in behind. Billy's up there. Billy's there. The old sniffer. If there's a goal to be had, if there's a mistake, he'll be in and around it.
The manager has spoken about he wants his team to take more risk in terms of creating more opportunities. How do they go about doing that, Kevin? How do they put that into practice?
It's about your own desire on the pitch to play in a positive manner and to look forward, first of all, rather than looking sideways and backwards and square. And it's just a mentality thing. You just have to get into that mentality of, you just mentioned the word risk. It is all about risks. You have to take risks in football. Risk to make that forward run in case the ball's going to get to you. Risk if you're Norwood or Burge or Fleck to pass the ball forward, and find your runners and not be content to just keep the ball moving sideways and across the pitch. At some stage you do have to risk losing the ball for the greater good, for the greater gain.
Defensively, they've looked quite sound, haven't they? Birmingham goal aside, they've looked quite solid. Would you agree?
Yeah, and even last season, in the relegation, they still look reasonably solid. They were a hard team to play against, an hard team to unsettle. So I think that's a given. I think they've got that structure. But like Kev says, it's risk and reward. But often, football now we have possession-based games, and teams want to keep possession. They want to keep the ball. You know, but there comes a time when, again, risk and reward. You know, put the ball down the sides of people, put defenders under pressure, and again, you know, just touching on West Brom, they'll certainly do that tonight. They'll put us under pressure.
Patience is a word that's used a lot in football, isn't it? But when you are so drilled into playing a certain way, as United have over the last 3-4 years, suddenly you get a new manager coming in, wants to change the philosophy. How difficult is it to take that on board? And I look at you, Chris, being an ex-centre-half, for example, and they've played such a key role here in the last 4 years, especially the overlapping centre-halves. If you have been one of those overlapping centre-halves who's suddenly told, you're not doing that anymore, forget it, is it difficult to kind of get your mindset into a new way of playing, or are we just going on about it a little bit too much? Are we looking too deep into it?
No, I think it's a total different approach. You know, and you've got somebody like Chris Basham, who at the weekend played as an orthodox centre-back. You know, potentially could play, you know, if me and Kev are wrong and it's not a back three, he plays as an orthodox centre-back tonight. And, you know, in all fairness to Bash, he wasn't brought to the football club and certainly has not played his best football as an orthodox centre-back. You know, really, the only orthodox one you've got is John Egan. So, yeah, it is totally different. And the players, you know, they have to grasp change. They have to deal with change. You know, there's a new manager who wants to play a different way. But yeah, it is tough, and they'll be working hard. They'll be listening. They'll be taking information on board. But it is a total different style to what they've been used to.
Kev, the first few games, are you seeing signs of encouragement from what you've seen from the performances? If so, in what areas?
To be brutally honest, not an awful lot of things to get excited or encouraged about just yet. I mean, ridiculous. We have 2 league games. Yeah. But just touching on what Chris has just mentioned there, talking from a centre-half point of view, and you know, the overlapping centre-halves, as we used to call them, the mentality of the team and the players shouldn't really change, because Chris and Slav have got very similar ideas about how they want to play the game. Yeah, they set up in a different formation maybe, but they're both very positive, and they want their players to play in a high tempo, on the front foot type performances. So I don't think the mentality of the players has to change that much, because they would have got exactly that from Chris in the past 3 years, the players who are still here. But it is as Chris said, just tinkering with formations and just, you know, from the centre half's point of view, not being allowed to go forward and not having your wing backs go quite so high up the pitch. You know, that's the difficult thing that Slav is going to have to tinker with and come to terms with.
Staying with the theme of defenders, we've seen a new arrival this week in Ben Davies. I saw an awful lot of him at Preston. He's definitely a Premier League defender in my book, and there's a reason he went to Liverpool. Sadly, couldn't get games there, but he's come back here, knows the division well. He'll add some much-needed competition and bring some quality, won't he? He's on the bench tonight, incidentally. Yeah,
he will. You know, I think probably when Slav got the job, he probably looked and thought, the first thing I need to sign, Jack O'Connell, long-term injury, left-sider. You know, I think that's the first position he'd have looked at. He wanted to bring a left-side centre-back in. And like you rightly say, you know, Ben was excellent at Preston, fully deserved his move to Liverpool. Always going to be tough to break into that Liverpool team, even with the injuries they had last season. And, you know, I've seen bits of his interview already, and he knows a lot about the club. Certainly knows a lot about the Championship, and I'm actually surprised that I know he's a late entry, but I'm actually surprised that his name weren't on the starting lineup tonight. I thought they'd have put him straight in.
Is that purely though because he's not had a lot of football in the last few months? Could that be the reason why?
Possibly, but he'll have trained. He'll be fit. I know we talk about match fitness and being up to speed and being up to tempo, but like you said, Paul, Sheffield United have signed a good player, and he might not be up to full match speed, but certainly West Brom away, tough game, just signed a Premier League centre-back, get him in the team and get him playing.
Would you have started him, Kevin?
I think I'd probably agree with Morgs there. I think it may be, you know, 24 hours too late. We signed him too late. If it had he signed like Monday or something like that, I think maybe, you know, but or, you know, back end of last week. I think it's just one game too early for him. But looking forward to seeing him play. Yeah, echo what Chris has just said there. You know, I've seen a friend of mine put together some video clips. Looks a very, very cultured player. Started out as a left back, So he can obviously quite comfortable on the ball, and he can pass the ball, and then was obviously transferred and moved inside, coached into a centre back, but very cultured, very good left-footed player, very stylish. Obviously he's got the size, and yeah, he's turned into a very, very good centre half.
More from the fellas coming up, but as we mentioned earlier on, Sheffield United getting that hard-earned point down at Swansea at the weekend. Let's take a look back at some of the highlights from that game with Kevin Gage and Matt Young.
Sharp starting his first game of the season. Slightly short back pass, and Bender's made a real hash of that, and McGoldrick almost in there. Here's Brewster for Sheffield United. McGoldrick makes the burst in front of him. McGoldrick with the cross, and the sliding challenge there. Threads it into Lowe. Cullen on. Tapier with the shot. Back to Cullen on the stretch. Lowe still in there. Robinson makes the clearance. To Bordier once more. By Norwood. Downs might have a go here, he does. First shot in anger. Sharp on the charge for the Blades. Here's McGoldrick. McGoldrick takes it early, and the keeper. It's a routine stop in the end. Goes then from Norwood, and there's a glancing header from Billy Sharp. Feeds it to Grimes, takes aim from a long way out. We've seen the big Norwegian make a few runs in the second half. Maybe a change of tack from Sheffield United, how they're utilising him. Here is Baldock. That's Baldock's cross. Brewster did well to pick the snapshot away. Neat into play for Grimes. And his left peg. Grimes going to have a go here. Just played low on side there. Low for a second, he might have got away from his man. He's still going low, and that's a smart save low down by Aaron Ramsdale. Picked out Osborne with a lovely pass. Osborne sets himself, he's looking for McBurney attacking the near post. McGoldrick drives into the area. McGoldrick creates a bit of room for McBurney. McBurney on for McGoldrick. McGoldrick for Sheffield United. Tipped behind by Bender. I think the flag did go up belatedly. It did. Berger's done well there because he was under pressure from Downs, and he's driving forward now, the Norwegian. This is good play. In goes across. McGoldrick! Here's McBurney looking for the run here of Osborne. McGoldrick through the middle. Osborne, let's fly. Swansea still on the ball with Grimes. Keith Crouch had a check of the watch there. Pirro inside the area. There is the full-time whistle. It's Swansea City 0, Sheffield United 0.
So Blades coming back from South Wales with a point. On reflection, a good one in the end, Kevin, or disappointed not to leave with all three?
I think I'd have settled for a point pre-game, absolutely. But I don't think we did enough to deserve to win all 3 points. I think we shaded it probably. But just looking at the clips there, you know, everybody, a blind man on a foggy day, can see where our problems are at the moment. You know, we're just not creating enough chances, and we're not taking the ones we do create. So that has to change at some stage, because a lack of goals is really going to cost us. And to get top 6, top 2 this season, well, you know, going to have to score 60, 65, 70 goals. So it's got to start somewhere.
We mentioned Brewster earlier on, but anybody else in particular catch your eye in that game? You're going to be honest again, aren't you, and say no?
I better be diplomatic. I mean, nobody was outstanding, to be honest. I mean, Baldock did his work down the right-hand side. Defensively, we were fairly sound. Ramsdale did his job when he was needed to. But it was all a bit much of a muchness, wasn't it? You know, it was just, we nearly got there, or we nearly got the cross in, or nearly got our foot into something. You know, I'm waiting for someone to take our team by the scruff of the neck and drive us forward and get on the end of things, or get some really, really top quality crosses in and say, there you go, score that one, you can't miss that one.
Expectations are high, aren't they, Chris? I mean, everyone's expecting United to blow teams away. They've got a manager who's got pedigree, who's won promotions before. As we've seen this division, it just doesn't work like that, does it?
It's a difficult league, and in many ways, you know, when you talk to players who have had promotions and come back to the Championship, the Championship in many ways is harder. It's a harder league, and you know, Sheffield United have been back to being a scalp. You know, and I think it was Andy Reid who I heard at the weekend in terms of Sheffield United were championshiped in the game against Birmingham, and it was welcome back. This is, you know, we're going to be hard to beat. We're coming to your place, and it's not going to be easy. And you know, the Swansea game, you know, Didsey had a couple of decent chances, the header, and you know, the one where he was through, good save off the goalkeeper. You know, but again, positives on the road, clean sheet. Yeah, you know, I think people want to see us start scoring goals.
His teams are notoriously slow starters, though, aren't they? I mean, it happened at Watford, it happened at Fulham. Could we be seeing the same thing here? You know, in those seasons where he got those particular clubs promoted, they were unstoppable after Christmas. But the risk with that is, come Christmas, it might be too late to claw all those points back.
Well, his track record is there to be shot at, hasn't it?
Absolutely,
we know what to expect. Perhaps we're all guilty of looking at his track record and going, right, well, come on then, you know, this is going to be easy this year. It's 3 out of 3 promotions. It doesn't work like that, does it? Listen, we've got to have faith in the manager. He clearly knows what he's doing. He'll get his players in, whether it be in this transfer window or the next one. He will get the players in he wants. He will get the team playing in the style he wants as well. You know, I wouldn't mess with the manager, put it that way. He comes across very well in his interviews. I'm sure he's the same on the training ground and behind the scenes. So we'll get them in the end. I'm certain of it.
Chris, you go along with that? Share that sentiment?
Yeah, I mean it is, you know, cliches, but it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
You know, you don't win the league in the first month, but also you know, I think at this moment in time with football, we've seen a lot of late goals in the first couple of weeks. You know, fans are back in. I was at a game last night, and you know, already supporters, you know, are turning a little bit and they're booing.
It's good though, isn't it? We've missed all of that. Yeah. Come on.
We've got fans back in the stadium, and all of a sudden, fans coming back in the stadium, you've now got pressure back. You know, the pressure's back, and Sheffield United want to be at the top of the league, and they want to be challenging for promotion. And like Gagey says, come the end of the season, I'm sure that's where we will be. Yeah, I think everybody wants to see it quicker.
The thing is, the majority of the Championship clubs all share that same belief, don't they?
Absolutely.
Barring maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, there's some strong teams in this league, isn't there? I mean, we've got the teams that have come down, obviously, but there's a few other teams still getting parachute payments in this league.
Yeah.
So there's some very, very strong teams in this league, and we're one of the strongest. And I think that what we have to manage really is the expectation of the fans as well. The team's got to be patient, the manager's got to be patient, the fans have got to be patient as well. It is a work in progress, and we may not see the fruits of it, you know, for a couple of months.
Well, let's hear from Slaviša Jokanovic for the first time tonight. Here are his thoughts after that draw at Swansea.
Okay, we play one decent regular game. They didn't create a lot of the things, but for to be honest, we didn't create enough chances for looking for 3 points. Of course, we need to keep going forward. Lads is working hard, and I hope we will start to play still better, offer a better performance, and looking for best results.
I saw at times you looked quite frustrated with the decision making in the final third, whether it be the cross or the shooting opportunity where it just didn't quite happen for you.
Okay, we need to keep going forward and keep working. Of course, after two championship games, we didn't score any goal, and we cannot be satisfied. In this with this result, we can 1 point or maximum 2. We are now stay with 1, but of course the lads is working hard. They want to improve. I am sure we will find it improvement soon, and we start to play better football and have more opportunity for win the game.
Because you really tried to press Swansea high early in the game today, and by and large the game plan was working, wasn't it?
Okay, we start to press. We after taking decision, they play in front of us. They didn't. I didn't have sensation. They created a lot of the problems in front of our goal, and we was compact and organized this kind of the situation. The problem was for another side is we didn't create enough chances. We didn't be enough danger in different situations. We probably taken some wrong decision in last third, and then we didn't score. But this, like I said before, we need to trust in ourselves. I cannot say nothing against my players in way like they are not try, they are not follow the instruction. Everything what I try from their side, they try to do, but of course we can do everything better.
Jukanovic to come ahead of kickoff, which is at 8 o'clock tonight here on SUTV Live. Right, let's have a recap of the team news, shall we? We've not seen West Bromwich Albion's starting 11 yet, but we can have a look at that now. And it's nice and straightforward, actually. Valera and Ishmael sticking with the same side that beat Luton at the weekend. And, of course, everybody will know the name of Callum Robinson, who started the season very well. 2-2 for him for the ex-Blade. And another former United man in the starting 11 going further back in Kyle Bartley, of course. As for Sheffield United, 3 changes from that draw at Swansea. No Ramsdale, Verrips in for him, Burke and Brewster, the other 2 to make way. In come Fleck and Osborne. And we think, or at least the 2 fellas here think, it's going to be 3 at the back. So we'll see how that transpires as the evening wears on. And of course you can see new signing Ben Davies on the bench there as well. Just looking at that team, fellas, I mean, you touched on it earlier on, Kevin, about a lack of pace potentially. Does it say, and this is only a suggestion, does it say that maybe Slavicia's looked at that West Brom team and how they like to trample over sides, especially early on? Is it a containment exercise, do you think, tonight, and then maybe try and hit West Bromwich Albion with a bit of pace later on as they begin to tire?
Yes, absolutely. We need to be in the game, don't we, for as long as we possibly can. And the one thing I'd say about that particular selection, whatever lineup they play, whether it be 4 or 3 or midfield or whatever, it looks solid. We've got enough solidity in there. Whether we play, as I just said, we play with 3 centre-backs or 2 centre-backs. If we play with the 2 centre-backs, it's going to be a back 4, and then we'll have a block of midfield players in front of them. And if we play with the 3 centre-backs, then the wing-backs may not have the opportunity to get forward quite as much, and we'll have a block of 3 in midfield that we saw last year with Fleck, Norwood and Burge in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's for me, it's a case of not giving away too much too soon. And then, as you rightly say, we've got the likes of Burke, we've got the likes of Brewster, who may make an appearance in the second half. Let's see how the game goes. We may let a goal in early, it may all change, of course, but we just don't know. But we know what we're going to get from West Brom, and it's a case of being strong, being solid, not giving too much away, and just combating it and dealing with it for as long as we can.
Chris, you'll have seen a lot of what Valera and Ishmael did with your hometown club last year at Barnsley. Fabulous run to the playoffs. No one expected that. And I thought last season they were done a disservice, Barnsley, because everyone labelled them as a direct long ball team. But in actual fact, there's nothing wrong with playing it forward and playing in the final third. And when they did get in the final third, they played some really attractive football, actually, didn't they? And it seems to have he's just picked up that template, moved across to the West Midlands, plonked it down, and they're doing exactly the same. And of course, he's taken Alex Mowat with him as well, which is a big signing. Yeah,
well, I think Alex was one of his talisman at Barnsley. He was his go-to man. He was his captain. So, you know, I think it was no surprise, Alex being out of contract, that he took him with him. But yeah, going back to the style, you know, Valerian did an unbelievable job at Barnsley. And yes, they were direct. And I think at times he loved the fact, you know, that, you know, my old manager Neil Warnock called him direct and things like that. And they were, you know, and Barnsley was one of the places that I was lucky enough to be able to get in and watch as a scout. And I saw loads of them. And do you know what? They were direct, but they'd got 6 real good forward players.
Yeah. And
he started with 3, and then it got to an hour, and if he weren't happy, he changed it. And that was every game. And all those 6, whichever way he mixed them up and played them, they all had an effect. And they were good players. You know, people like Coley Woodrow, good footballer. You know, they got Daryl DK, who came in late, big, powerful. Carlton Morris, powerful. So they were a threat. And as you rightly say, he's picked that up and moved it to West Brom, and you know, you can see similar traits to what he's trying to do there. You know, without being disrespectful to Barnsley, because they did fantastic last year, but you'd argue that within the West Brom team, he's actually got better players. You know, so if they're organised and direct and good from the set plays, like it looks like they have been up to now, if you've got good footballers in there, it looks as though they could be in for a decent season.
They did play a high line, though, at Barnsley. Is he doing the same at West Bromwich Albion? Because if so, that presents an opportunity, surely.
It does, yeah. You know, and I think we saw that at Barnsley. You know, Collins had to be on his. He had to be on his
sweeper
toes.
keeper, wasn't he?
Very much a sweeper keeper, and there was many a time that Brad was called on, and he ended up more or less playing as a centre back at times. But yeah, he wanted the pitch condensed. They play up to the front men, and what you'll find is, like the Barnsley team, the ball drops and his players are in around it. So what they do is they keep the game alive. The game's never dead. People talk about second balls in football. They're on them. They're on the second balls. You win the first ball, it comes back. They're on the second one, and they're putting you under pressure again.
Midfield looks key tonight for me, Kevin. I don't know about you, because Mowatt's in there, Livermore's in there. And for me, United's midfield three, if it is going to be a three, have got a big role to play, not only trying to stop them, but also in an attacking sense as well, trying to get forward and support McGoldrick and Sharp, for example.
Yeah, I'm getting slightly concerned having listened to Wolves now.
He'll not be welcome back next time if this carries on.
Listen, I've played under Dave Bassett for far too many years, so I know exactly how to play direct style and what it entails, and also how difficult it is to play against it, by the way. So yeah, our lads have got to be up for the battle first and foremost. They've got to win the second balls. They've got to be round and about, and they will realise the physical challenge that West Brom will give them tonight. So yeah, we've got to compete. Anything else from that point onwards is a bonus. But if you don't win your tackles and win a few headers and get to the ball first in the knockdowns, we're going to be playing in our own half, for 80% of this game, and we will just be pushed back and back and back. Now, if they do play a high line, we'd be looking at who would be getting down the side of the channels and getting forward and maybe, catching them out. In our team set up, I don't see anybody who's got the pace or the capability to get beyond their high line. So that's where, when you mentioned subs in the second half, could become vital.
Yeah. Baldock and Osborne do give you legs out wide, but it's a big ask, isn't it, to keep bombing up and down constantly tonight, being conscious of what's happening in behind you, while at the same time trying to make something happen in an attacking sense as well.
Exactly. There's no point bombing down if you're not going to get the ball. If we haven't got the ball and it's constantly being put high and long into our penalty area or into our final third, they're not going to get the opportunity to get forward, because we won't have enough decent possession to get them high enough up the pitch to receive the ball. And when they do get the ball, they won't have too many options to pass the ball to, because we've got a lack of numbers up front or any central strikers making those runs into the wide positions. The trouble with playing the wing back, you've got no one in front of you at all. There's no wingers or wide midfielders in front of you. You have to plough that lone furrow up there.
You mentioned there about defending against a direct team. So what's the key then in playing against that style, in your view? The
centre halves have to be really, really strong and up for it, and to battle the centre forwards. But the absolute key to playing against a style like this is the second ball. The striker he's not going to head the ball in from 20, 30 yards, but what will happen is the ball will drop for the other striker or the midfield players making runs. It's all about the second balls, and dealing with the second balls, and getting there first and covering your positions as defenders, which you should do normally, but in a style like that, you have to do it an awful lot more, and you have to be switched on the whole game and be ready for the physical battle.
This sounds a game like it would have been a game right up your alley, this.
I think Sheffield United, West Brom have always been them types of games, and playing at the Hawthorns, very similar to playing here. Good atmosphere, traditional stadium, and they used to be good games, and I think it will be a real good contest tonight. And like Gagey says, you go to the Hawthorns at any time. You've got to go there. You've got to win your personal battle. The team's got to roll its sleeves up, soak all the pressure up, and maybe that's why Slav's gone with what looks like could potentially be in a narrow midfield, to combat them bodies, to combat that second ball, because I think if we can drop on the second balls, we've certainly got good enough footballers in Ollie, Sander, Flecky to get on and then play from there. Going back to our two fullbacks, I think it's fine us thinking about them getting forward and putting crosses in, but let's not forget they've also got Darnell Furlong and Connor Townsend to deal with. You know, two fullbacks who have got the wing back roles, and they'll bomb on from them positions. You know, so it's going to be, if it is a back four, it'll be a tough ask tonight to be able to get forward and also be getting back dealing with their wing backs. We've
not really talked much about Callum Robinson, who I really liked when he was down here, and Chris had his reasons for doing the deal to send Callum that way and Ollie Burke to come this way. He'll be desperate tonight, won't he, to continue his scoring streak, especially against his old club. 2 in 2 so far for Callum.
Yeah, it's always nice to play against your old club, isn't it? And score against your old club, as I managed once or twice. But he wasn't here long enough to have a deep affection for Sheffield United. So I think for him, to be honest, it'll be just like another game. But listen, he'll want to play well, he'll want to give a good performance, and of course he'll want to score a goal. He's a professional footballer playing striker, that's his job. But I don't think there's any real desire to, say, get one over on Sheffield United, simply because, you know, he wasn't here long enough, in my opinion.
And what about the two players either side of him? Karlan Grant, who's got pedigree at this level, in fairness, and Dean Garner, who on his day can be a real problem, can't he? He's technically very, very good. Yeah,
again, it's a similar mix to what he had at Barnsley, to what Varane had at Barnsley. You know, you've got strength. Karlan Grant, you know, I saw a lot of him at Huddersfield. You know, a powerful player. You know, a threat. You know, maybe didn't work for him in the Premier League, but again, Championship, you'd expect him to score goals. You know, I'm sure the West Brom fans are looking at Karlan Grant like us as Sheffield United fans are looking at Ryan Brewster. You know, that them two players were brought in to do well in the Premier League, and you know, all of a sudden you drop back to the Championship, and fans then expect, you know, and Dean Garner again, you know, box of tricks, got all sorts up his sleeve. You know, a real handful. So whether we are a back three, a back five, a back four, it's you know, we've got to be prepared. But I'm sure they're all talking about that in the dressing room. You know, we've got experienced players in there. They'll know what they're up against tonight, and I'm sure, you know, they've done their analysis. They know what's coming, and they've got to get ready for it. And then once you have won the battle, it's then having that bit of calm to put your foot on the ball and play and pick passes. You know, and try and hit them on the break with Didzy and obviously Sharpie.
Is this a marker game for both clubs? Is it a yardstick for both managers to see where their respective teams are at and where they could go this season, do you think, Kevin?
I think from our point of view, Slav will probably learn a lot about some of his players tonight because, as we've just mentioned, all the physicality they're going to be faced with. So I think he'll learn a lot about some of the players on our side. I think it's a good game. I'm looking forward to it because it's completely different from the Birmingham and the Swansea games. You know, the Swansea game was all about possession and them trying to dominate possession. It was pass, and this is the complete opposite end of the stick. I'm not going to read too much into tonight because he said it's early days, but it would be nice to show the rest of the country that yes, we're Sheffield United and. Yes, we're known for our football and our overlapping centre backs and this, that, and the other. But we can mix it with the best of them as well, and we're going to be in this division and we mean business.
Well, kick-off is fast approaching at the Hawthorns, roughly just under 20 minutes to go before kick-off in the West Midlands. SUFT, of course, bringing you all of the pre-match build-up, but sadly we can't bring you full match coverage of tonight's game due to broadcasting restrictions. But if you do want to learn more about what games you will be able to watch with us, which is pretty much all of them, to be fair, just check out the website sufc.co.uk. A reminder that Sheffield United back in action next Tuesday, Carabao Cup against Derby County. Tickets now on sale for that one. A 7:45 kick-off here at Bramall Lane as the Blades face their Championship rivals, hoping to make it through to the third round. Ashley will be back in the seat for that one. Ashley Wilmot taking you through all of the action here at Bramall Lane. And whilst you're down here, you can also pay a visit to the club shop. If you've not got your replica shirt yet, there's still plenty of time to get it. Plenty in the shop and available on sale right now. You can go for the home or the very fetching away strip, which I think looks fabulous. I must say I'm a big fan of the black away kit. Billy Sharp and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk looking very snazzy indeed in their shirts there. So be sure to pay a visit to the Bramall Lane Club shop. Right, kick-off then on the way. Not too far to go until we see the Blades in action at the Hawthorns. Let's now hear from United's new signing, Ben Davies. It's been dragging on for a while. We've known about the interest. The Blades have got their man. He's arrived on loan from Liverpool and he's been talking to Matt Young.
Really happy to be here, to be honest. Got some good, exciting feelings when I was coming in. Bit of a long drive from Preston, over some air roads, and got lost a couple of times. But once I got here and got in the building, everyone was really friendly, and managed to meet most of the players and the manager and a lot of the staff. So yeah, I feel really comfortable already.
What was it about Sheffield United that made you want to come here?
I've always kind of liked Sheffield United as a club, like playing against them. Obviously coming to the stadium, I saw on Saturday they had 29,000 fans in, which was a pull. And yeah, I like the manager, I like the way that he plays football. I think we've got some great players here, and I think that we've got a good chance of bouncing straight back up.
You mentioned the manager. He's obviously got a great pedigree in this division. You know, but that must have been a big factor as well, knowing his record and of getting teams up back into the Premier League, which is sure is where you want to be long term.
Yeah, no, like I say, I like the way that his teams play football, and like I say, he's got a good record in the Championship. So I think that it's a good fit, and I think that hopefully I can fit in quite well to his plans and the club.
You know the Championship really well, obviously, from your time with Preston. It's one of the most competitive leagues you'll ever like to play, and I know you want to get back to the Premier League eventually, but just how good is it to be playing week in, week out in the Championship again?
Yeah, hopefully so. I've just missed match days, really, and the buzz, and especially having fans in this year. It'll have been a long time, really, since I played a proper match day with full fans, so yes, part of the excitement of coming here and hopefully having a successful year.
What's your aim coming into this club? Would it be simply just to help the Blades try and get back into the top flight again? Yeah,
I think that we've kept quite a lot of the squad together, not only the last year, but the last few years, really. And I think that we've got more than enough quality to bounce straight back up, and hopefully I can help the players, and the players can help me, and hopefully we can have a good year.
So Ben Davies is in, he's on the bench at the Hawthorns. Hopefully we get a glimpse of what he can do in a Blade shirt before the night he's out. But was it important, Chris, to see at least one fresh face through the door before the window? I'm sure there'll be more coming in, but it's important, isn't it, when a new manager comes in, for the rest of the squad to see new faces coming in?
Yeah, I think you just, as a manager walking into a new job, you want to freshen things up, and certainly Ben coming in, gets everybody else on the toes. And you, as a player, when somebody comes in your position, that it sort of gives you a bit of a lift. I know that might sound silly, but it does. It gives you a lift. That position, all of a sudden, you might be people in that team, in that squad, thinking, yeah, I'm all right. Somebody arrives, and it livens you up a little bit. And I think there will be more. I think they're working hard behind the scenes to get players in and to get quality in. I think that's the main thing. Yeah,
and he's quality, isn't he, Kevin? You can see, from Liverpool going in for him, he's an established defender at this level. This fella knows what he's doing.
Well, you don't get a big transfer to Liverpool unless you are top quality. I mean, they've got analysts and scouts coming out their ears, haven't they? So they know exactly who they're buying, and they know everything about them to the nth degree. So it's a real coup for Sheffield United to get someone as good as him actually to come to us. And he said it all himself. It's a great club to come to. And as I touched on it earlier with the bits and bobs I saw. Jamie Hoyland, who all ex-Blades will know, he worked with him at Preston, and he rates him very, very highly. And he messaged me last night and said, "You've got a really top player there." And the clips I've seen, he's very, as I said, he's very cultured, very, very stylish with the ball, and he plays beautiful passes, into midfield and beyond. He's got a lot of composure on the ball as well. He's not a typical up and at 'em Chris Morgan type centre half. No disrespect, Chris, but
They don't make him like that anymore, Kevin, I don't think.
He's a battler. I think he plays alongside someone like John Egan or Chris or what have you. A different type of player, but certainly a player that Slav would like in his team, and knowing the way Slav wants to play, I think he suits our style perfectly.
Let's hear more now from the Blades boss, Slaviša Kanovic, ahead of tonight's game at the Hawthorns.
It's a tough game against one of the strongest team in the league. They are really start the season well. They show they are strong, compact, physically, really complicated team play against. It's for our side is like a game where we play against Swansea is great challenge. It's arriving in a good moment for us, and we will be ready for the game. And from another side, if we are talking about some kind of the process, some kind of the progress, I expect we can lift our performance and be ready and still more competitive for the game. They will press us. They play in a really good distance between lines. Is a really aggressive team. For our side, we try to take off this press. We need to be brave. If we are looking for change a little bit our style, we must to trust in ourselves, our possibility, and be ready for the challenge. Plan is done. Players know what they need to do during the game, and I hope we will be successful.
Last answer there from Slaviša, a few words are picked out. Bravery, trust, aggression. 3 key components, it sounds like he's trying to get across there, at least 3, if they're to get something from the Hawthorns tonight, Kevin.
Not just tonight, I would say that applies throughout the season, through every single game, it goes without saying, lots of the things he says there. He comes across as very cool, calm and collected, you know. He's been likened to a Bond villain, hasn't he, in the past? But so we'll see how it pans out. But we also have it on very good authority that he can absolutely lose his rag when he needs to. Of course he can. He's a professional football manager. Yep. So he wouldn't have had the success that he's had. So yeah, we're looking to see a different side of him, aren't we? We get the, as I say, the monotone speech that we get there for the press. But you can bet your bottom dollar that he'll be ranting and raving with the best of them when he needs to.
We're going to let you pop off in a minute because you've got to get into position for the match tonight. But what are you going for prediction-wise? What do you reckon tonight?
What I hope for is a committed, powerful, positive performance from Sheffield United. I can accept a defeat, but as long as we lose in the right way, if you know what I mean, we need to stand up for ourselves because it's a really big test for us this evening. So I'm not going to get too despondent if we do get beaten. I'd like to see us hang on for something, but I just want to see us stand up for ourselves and be far more positive, far more aggressive, and a bit more desire, a bit more enthusiasm and passion, for the whole style of play.
Can I press you for a scoreline?
You're going to, aren't you? Whether I like it or not. I'm gonna go for 1-1 then. We need to score. We haven't scored yet. We're the only team in this league who hasn't scored yet.
Yeah, I was trying to not mention that. I think everybody is well aware, but thank you for raising it. Looking for their first win, first goal of the Championship campaign. I'll let you crack on, Kev. You go and get yourself in situ. We'll look forward to hearing your dulcet tones shortly, which means it's just me and thee for the next few minutes whilst Kevin gets ready. What's your prediction for tonight, Chris? What do you reckon?
I've got 1-1 on the tip of my tongue as well,
1-1.
Just before Gagey said it. I think, I think 1-1 on reflection will be a good result down there. Again, I'm a little bit ex-defender, go away from home, keep things tight. I believe we can do that tonight. I think it's going to be a real tough test, as you'd expect. 2 good teams going at it, and we're away from home. So I think we could possibly Championship West Brom, if we can use that phrase. But yeah, it's It's about competing tonight. It really is about competing and being brave in two ways. Being brave competing and being brave with the ball. You know, putting the ball in good areas and being brave when we get in the box. And I think if we do that tonight, we've got every chance of winning. But I think as I sit here now, I see a 1-1.
The thing is, you don't want to be losing more games at this stage of the season, do you? Yes, it's early, but it's very easy to lose ground, albeit in its infancy. You know, you look at that table as a player and you see teams at the top on 7, 8, 9 points and you're sat there on 1, maybe 2. You don't want to be looking at that, do you? You don't want to be having to claw too much ground back, even at this early point.
No, and you know, we are only 2 games in, but the thing with the Championship is the games come thick and fast, as you rightly say. You know, Wednesday night soon becomes Saturday. Saturday's then Tuesday again. You know, even though that's a cup game, but the games just keep coming. And if that gap does build up, it does prey on your mind. You know, of course you can claw it back. You know, there's a lot of games within the Championship, but you know, when you come out of the Premier League, the first thing you want to do is you want to be straight back at it. You know, you want to be on the front foot, you want to be winning games, and yeah, you know, it might seem as though we're repeating ourselves. There has been a big change. You know, there's been a big change, and changes take time. You know, they take patience. But as we all know, sometimes patience is not a word used a lot in football. But again, in Slav, you know, I couldn't see a better option, if I'm honest. You know, when the names were starting being spoke about, and if you think, you know, there weren't actually a lot of names mentioned, but when the names were mentioned, he stood out like a sore thumb. You know, track record, builds good teams. You know, I've spoke to a few of the lads. They do say he's really good. Him and his staff on the training ground, and you know, we're 2 games in. You know, I think everybody's frustrated that we've not scored a goal and we've not won. But you know, all that can change tonight. You know, if we do go down there, win tonight, you took a huge scalp in West Brom, and off you go.
Key areas tonight, where do you see those being?
You touched on it, midfield. I mean, for me, the midfield area, certainly in the way West Brom will play, in the way Valerian's teams play. You know, I know we're only talking briefly about his West Brom, but certainly his Barnsley team, they flood the midfield area. They're on second balls, so I think that's a real key area for us tonight. You know, if we can win the majority of second balls and stand up to what's coming, and again, you know, have the bravery then to calm things down, put your foot on the ball and play.
Is there something to be said for bringing on the likes of Brewster and Burke later on, if you can stay in the game, maybe until half an hour to go, and then bring on pace like that undoubtedly they bring, and try and hit West Brom that way? Yeah,
because the last thing you want in the 80th minute, 75th, 80th minute, as a centre-back, he's looking across at the dugouts and you're seeing pace come on. It's the worst thing. You know, you'd rather see, you know, a big number 9 limbering up thinking, right, he's coming on for a battle and they're going to stick it in the box, because most centre-halves are built for that. You know, the last thing you want is, you know, a Ryan Brewster come in and running in behind you. You know, you're thinking, you know, don't need that at this stage of the game, because it will be a tough game for both teams tonight. And you know, maybe the substitutions could be key.
Could well be. Well, we'll see if Sheffield United can get their first goal of the league campaign and get their first win of the league campaign as well. So Kevin Gage went for 1-1. You went for 1-1, and for what it's worth, I'm going 2-2. All right, I think there will be goals in this. I think West Brom do cough up opportunities, and hopefully United can take them. But of course, fingers crossed for all 3 points tonight. We'll be back at half-time, won't we, for a natter and discuss what we've seen in the first half. Of course. Is that all right with you? You're going to stick around for a bit?
We'll nip for a pie and then come back.
Going for a pie in an empty Bramall Lane. Good luck with that. There are some cold sandwiches in the fridge, though. They're just about ready to walk out of the Hawthorns, I believe. So time to hand you over to our commentary team, Kevin Gage, and first, good evening, Matt Young.